Welcome to the Fantasy Football Forge. My name is Steve, and it is time I'm hiding the title. It's time to get to the waiver wires. There we go. For week 13, and most of the guys, actually, I think all of them, will be guys that are under 50% owned and the ESPN ownership leagues. I got those words in the right order. First, before we get to the waiver wires, we will be going over some of the news and notes. And once again, thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate it. Let's just get going here with Sam Darnold, who is expected to be starting in week 14. They have a bye in week 13 there. But after that, there is no commitment as to who the starter will be for the team. So we'll see, I guess, about that. But DJ Moore owners, be happy. You got one more week of Sam Darnold. Then Jamar Chase is expected to be returning this week, so that's obviously a good thing for Jamar Chase owners. Travis Etienne should be just fine. He apparently could have come back into the game last week, but they just wanted to play it safe, so nothing to be too concerned about there. Deshaun Watson was reinstated this week, and he is expected to be the starter for the Cleveland Browns going forward. Darnell Mooney is out for the rest of the season. Christian McCaffrey had a knee irritation during the game this last week, and so he was limited during the game. He will be limited during practices, and he is expected to be limited during games going forward. Keep that in mind. Expectations should probably be lowered for Christian McCaffrey, but I won't be overly concerned. Then Elijah Mitchell sprained his MCL, probably the same one that he had an injury on earlier this season, so that's expected to be 6 to 8 weeks recovery, so he is out for fantasy football. Then Damian Harris is week to week at this point, and he will not be playing this week. Marquise Brown was not eased back into action this last week, and he was put on full display. He participated in 97% of routes. That is obviously good for his prospects looking forward. Aaron Rodgers went down late in the Sunday night football game, and we'll see. It was an oblique injury. He didn't come back into the game, so that could have some implications on players. I'm hesitantly excited to see what Jordan Love could do. There have been a lot of players who've been open, and Aaron Rodgers has just missed those throws, so if Jordan Love could just be somewhat accurate, that may not hurt the value of, the wide receivers, Aaron Jones, etc. on that team. Then Kadarius Toney is a day-to-day currently with his injury, so that's good. Might be back sooner than I was expecting. Jameson Williams is a long shot to be playing this week, so don't expect to be relying on him this week. Michael Carter is a day-to-day currently, so that's good. The injury was, I believe for him, low ankle sprain, so that's much better than a high ankle sprain. And Joe Mixon is currently trending well to be playing this upcoming weekend. So a lot of those running back, a lot of that news for the running backs will have implications on the waivers. This week, week 13 for the buys, we are looking at Arizona and Carolina, so plan accordingly. And more importantly, for more people probably, is week 14. Plan accordingly here with Atlanta, Chicago, Green Bay, Indianapolis, New Orleans, and Washington all on bye. Luckily, not the worst set of teams for a week with a lot of bye teams on bye. Now let's move on to the quarterback waivers, and I do have Russell Wilson and Aaron Rodgers in my droppable category. I would probably just wait on more news as far as Aaron Rodgers goes, but he's one of those guys you could drop if you think that you're going to get some better value from someone else, and wouldn't be super opposed to that. And Russell Wilson is just obviously very droppable. Now for the quarterbacks, these are the only two that I think really should be rostered. Jimmy G, who is going up against Miami, Tampa Bay, and then Seattle, Washington, and Las Vegas in the playoffs. So it's, I think, a pretty darn juicy playoff schedule there for Jimmy G. And then, of course, Deshaun Watson is up here too, just especially with his feet. The upside for him is too much. I'm not expecting a huge game for him going up against Houston. They should be able to control the ball on the ground a lot. He has not played for a long time, but hopefully his feet will make it an okay day, and I'm really hoping on that because I have Kyler Murray, who's on bye this week, and I don't think I'll be having a third quarterback on my roster, so probably going to just have to roll out Deshaun Watson, even though I've been warning people for a while now about Deshaun Watson, and you're not going to want to trust him in the first week back, and then Cincinnati can be kind of a tough team, and if he doesn't do good here, are you going to trust him? And so, yeah, I'm diving in even despite all of my warnings, and passed up on Jimmy G going up against Miami. I'll probably regret that, but I'm in the playoffs anyway, so whatever. Then for other options here. I currently have Jordan Love ahead. Now let me double check here with the rosters, or with the matchups. I'm currently filling in this right after halftime on Monday Night Football, and Kenny Pickett just missed this end zone touchdown, which would have made me for sure put him above Jordan Love. I mean, I would say it's probably a little safer to say Kenny Pickett over Jordan Love, but I do have a good feeling about Jordan Love, and look at this schedule going up against Chicago. Then, of course, there's a bye week, followed by Los Angeles Rams, Miami, and Minnesota to close it out. So if you were a playoff team who's struggling at quarterback, schedule-wise, it doesn't get a whole lot better. Then Kenny Pickett getting higher and higher on my list for a few weeks now, so I like him. Jared Goff, Matt Ryan to wrap those up. And then Mike White, I couldn't quite put on here because I don't know that I have faith. He did go up against Chicago last week, so, he's an option. I wouldn't be totally opposed to it, but I really would not want to trust him, especially in the short term. Now let's move on to the running back waiver options. And first of all, my drop list starts off with Raheem Mostert and Elijah Mitchell, because obviously they're not going to be doing anything for your teams going forward. Then I have Cam Akers, Kareem Hunt, Damian Harris, and A.J. Dillon. All of these guys, I would rather have Gus Edwards or Tyler Algier, but most namely A.J. Dillon, I would probably scoot in right behind Tyler Algier at the very least here. The other three, Damian Harris, Kareem Hunt, Cam Akers, all fit right into this tier as well. So you don't have to drop them, but they are definitely droppable, and it's possible that they would fit into this tier. I have Kyren Williams up ahead of my second tier here after Gus Edwards, Tyler Algier, followed by Zonovan Knight and Ty Johnson. So Ty Johnson, if you're in full PPR, I'd definitely put him ahead of Zonovan Knight. Half PPR, I do have Zonovan Knight ahead of him, but it's a little bit of a risky pickup with Zonovan because James Robinson is still there. So we don't know exactly how that role would look between Bam Knight, as he is nicknamed, and James Robinson. Zonovan could disappear. So there is some risk with that. And non-PPR definitely goes Zonovan over Ty Johnson, but still that risk of James Robinson being a part of that backfield. Nothing I'm too excited over between them, but there is an opportunity there. Then Tevin Coleman is a good backup to have and may have some sort of split work with the limited Christian McCaffrey. And that's not a guarantee that it's going to be Tevin Coleman, is the unfortunate thing. We don't really know. Would it be Jordan Mason? Well, a lot of people think that he's really on the roster ahead of Tevin Coleman due to his special teams work. So who knows there? And then they've got their rookie Tyrion Davis-Price. But I think Tevin Coleman gets the initial nod. So good backup to have, and possibly will get some work, but once again, there's some risk with that. Then Jermichael Hasty and Samaje Perine are both lower because I'm expecting their starters to be their starters. So Jermichael Hasty in Jacksonville, I'm expecting Travis Etienne to be back, and Samaje Perine, I am expecting Joe Mixon to be back. But there is a chance that neither of them play, or one of them doesn't play. So there is some opportunity here if you wanted to take a chance on that. And then here is my list of backup running backs in order of importance that I have them in. Just a little note, Chuba Hubbard, not necessarily strictly a backup. He also gives you some fantasy points. Same with Jerick McKinnon, not strictly a backup. He does just have a role in that offense that some weeks works out just fine. So they would be the exception out of this group. Now let's move on to the wide receiver waiver wire options and drop list. Obviously, Darnell Mooney, Allen Robinson aren't going to be able to contribute, so go right ahead and drop them. Then Chase Claypool and Drake London, I have at the top of my drop list there. I would be very willing to drop them for any of these guys in my tier 1A, tier 1B here. Adam Thielen, Brandon Cooks, Deontay Johnson, Joshua Palmer, a little less likely. They are on par with these guys to differing extents, especially Deontay Johnson's having a good night right now. Solid target share, solid work. Not a huge fantasy night yet, and that's been the issue all season long. Then, of course, Adam Thielen did pop off this last weekend, but I would be willing to hopefully trade up in some of the instances here. So let's just start out with my tier 1A, who I start out with OBJ. He's going to be going to Dallas probably or something. Should be on a good offense and have a good opportunity to help you win a game or two in the playoffs. Then Treylon Burks has been coming on. He's still been coming on, so I do like that to be a potential late season breakout here. The ceiling's a little bit limited in that offense, but nonetheless, we have seen some wide receivers put up some good numbers in that offense, even if. Then DPJ had a bit of a down week this last week, but he's had a great run really all season long with just a few down weeks here and there. That can happen. Jameson Williams drops down a little bit further than I would like to put him just because he's not going to be playing this week. And so, once again, just like I said earlier on in this season, are we going to ever be able to actually play him with any trust? Who knows? But the upside is definitely there for maybe in that championship game. You could get a surprise from him. And so I have him rostered, and I'm not going to be afraid to drop him if I need to, but I'm hoping to be able to hold on to him and possibly play him if things got dire with my wide receiver situation, or he absolutely popped off and has a good matchup, after he pops off. Then Zay Jones and Darius Slayton will wrap those up. Zay Jones has been a year-long DPJ-esque type of play, and Darius Slayton's, the best receiving option on a team, which always has some value. Then Mac Hollins just had a really good week. Nico Collins, Michael Gallup, all my tier 2 guys. They're a little bit less inconsistent, or in like a case of Nico Collins, haven't really had that big explosive game, but the possibility is there, especially with Kyle Allen at quarterback. I think that helps a little bit. We'll see. And Michael Gallup, I actually moved down a couple of spots with the expectation that OBJ would be going to Dallas. And here is my tier 2 of waiver wire options, which you can pause and look through. Yeah, it ends at Justin Watson. So it's these are guys that you could take a chance on to hold on to your roster, or more so, they're weekly fill-ins this week, next week type of things. Assuming they're not on a team that has a bye this week or next week. And of course, check out the rankings on the website, or my rankings videos, www.theFFForge for the website, to see where these guys end up ranking on a weekly basis. But every single week, there's going to be a chance for these guys to do something. They've shown us enough. And that brings us to the last position here, the tight end waiver wires. It's pretty not exciting. So, drop list. Zach Ertz still over 50% owned. Same with Darren Waller. You can drop those guys. Kyle Pitts, same thing. You can drop him. Not going to do anything for your team. And same with Dallas Goedert. So, you can drop these guys. That leaves us with my tier 1A here. Evan Ingram, Tyler Conklin, Foster Moreau, Greg Dulcich, Juwan Johnson in that order. These guys they have the potential to give you a good week. Juwan Johnson's done it much more than Greg Dulcich, but do you think that, there's still some upside to Greg that there just isn't quite to Juwan Johnson, but I'm not going to get mad if you decided to take Juwan over Greg Dulcich, but these three are pretty tight as the best options, I think, on the waiver wire currently. Then these guys are all options that you could use if you like them this week. Hunter Henry, Noah Fant, Mike Gesicki, Logan Thomas, Cade Otton, Trey McBride, Robert Tonyan, and Taysom Hill. And Trey McBride, Cade Otton, really just up there as potential upside kinds of guys, but if you want yourself a safer floor, Taysom Hill, Robert Tonyan would be over them. So that's it for the waiver wires for what week are we on? 12 of the fantasy football season. Is week 13. I already know it. All right, thank you very much. I hope you guys won week 12, and let's get you a week 13 win here and for that playoff push. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below, and I will see you in the positional videos, which if you're not familiar, I will drop all of them. Either I might drop one Tuesday night, but normally I drop them all on Wednesday. One video for each position: wide receiver, tight end, running back, and quarterback. And Pittsburgh just had a big play. What was it? Oh no, 89-yard kick return for Indianapolis. Pittsburgh did not have a big play. All right, that's it. Bye.